lesson 10.5, which is going to be the area of composite figures. So we're basically taking the areas of the shapes that we've just previously done in the last lessons, and we're basically putting them all together, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at are the key points. So it says the area of composite shapes is the area of combined shapes of one or more simple polygons and circles. In order to find the area of composite shapes, simply find the area of each shape and then add them together. Basically, that's all we're doing. So for example, if you look, I have a shape here. This is kind of a trapezoid, but anyway, if you look, I could actually cut it up into two shapes. If you look, I have a square, so area of a square, and then a triangle. And so literally I could find the area of a square, then the area of a triangle, and then add them together to find the whole composite area. So that's what we're looking at today, is finding composite area. Let's jump over to example number 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our first example. So it says we need to find the area of the figure here. So if you look, this is kind of made up of two different shapes. So what I like to do whenever I'm solving these type of problems is I like to figure out how many different shapes I have and then kind of write it out to make a game plan and then figure out by writing the formula out and then solving for my problem here. So if I look here, it looks like I have a rectangle down here. So that means I need to find the area of a rectangle. And then I need to add, and it looks like I have the area of a regular 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is going to be a hexagon. So I'm going to find the area of a regular hexagon, which we've done that in the past unit. So right now, to find the area of a rectangle, I know it's going to be base times height. And then I'm going to add the area of a hexagon, which is going to be 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. We've done that before. So I'm literally finding the area of the two separate things, then I'm going to add them together here, okay? So let's go and look at my first one here. So let's go and look at my rectangle. So it looks like my base, I know since this is a regular hexagon, all the sides are congruent. So my base here is going to be 25. And then the height of my rectangle is going to be 110. And I'm going to add 1/2 A. The A is the apothem, so it looks like my apothem here is going to end up being 15. So 1/2 of 15. And then remember, perimeter means I got to find the perimeter of my whole shape. So one side is 25, and I have 6 of those. So 25 times 6 is going to end up giving me 150. So this is going to be 150. So now, ladies and gentlemen, all I have to do is multiply it out and then add them together. So 25 times 110 is going to give you 2,750. And then 0.5 times 15 times 150 is going to end up giving you 1,125. And then all I have to do is add the two together of 3,875, and that's going to be centimeters squared. So again, ladies and gentlemen, what you have to do is you have to find what two shapes or multiple shapes that you're dealing with, and then you have to end up creating a plan and adding all of those areas together to get your total area. Okay, that is composite area. So let's look over example number 2. On example number 2, it says we need to find the area of the figure below. It's just saying the two trapezoids below are congruent. So since they're telling us that both of those are congruent, that means I can go ahead and just double that shape. So right now, I have two different trapezoids, so I'm going to do 2 times what the trapezoids are going to be. And then I'm going to add, and it looks like in the middle, I have a square or a rectangle in the middle. So again, I'm creating a game plan, and then I'm going to plug in those formulas, and that's going to end up giving me what my whole thing's going to be. So I'm going to end up doing 2 times the area of a trapezoid is going to be base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. And then I'm going to add the area of a rectangle in the middle, which is just going to be base times height. Okay? So if we look here, looks like my base 1 here is going to end up being 18. So 2 times 18 plus, and then it looks like base 2 is going to end up being 30. And then I'm going to multiply that times the height, which is going to be 20. And then I'm going to divide all that by 2. And then I'm going to add the base times the height. So the base of my square here, it looks like is going to be 18. And then the height of it is going to be 22. So I'm literally just creating my plan and plugging in everything that I know in order to find what I don't know here, okay? So let's go ahead and find what my trapezoids are gonna be. So right now in my calculator, I'm gonna do 18 plus 30, and then I'm gonna end up multiplying that times the height, which is 20, and I'm gonna divide all that by 2, which is gonna give you 480, but I have 2 congruents of those. So I have to multiply that by 2. So right now, my 2 trapezoids together is gonna be 960. And then the area of my rectangle in the middle is gonna be 18 times 22, which is gonna give you 396. So now I just have to add all the areas together. So 396 plus 960 is gonna give you 1,356. And again, that's in centimeters squared because I'm doing area. So again, I'm creating my game plan. I'm finding how many different shapes I have. Then I'm putting in how to find the areas of those. And then I'm just finding the area of each and adding them together. That's composite area. That's how you find that. So let's jump over to example number 3. All right, so let's look at example number 3. It says we need to find the area of the shaded region. So the way I like to think of this problem is not necessarily addition. I want y'all to think of like if you're cutting out a piece of paper. So if I'm finding the shaded region, I have a sheet of paper here, and think of it if I'm taking a pair of scissors and I'm cutting out the 2 circles here. So I'm actually gonna be taking those out to find the composite area here. So instead of adding those in, I'm taking them out. So I'm gonna subtract the area of the circles. And just so you know, the 2 circles are congruent to each other, okay? So right now we gotta think of my 2 shapes. I have a rectangle here, right? So I'm finding the area of the rectangle, and I'm actually subtracting out 2 of the same circles. So I'm subtracting out 2 times the area of a circle, correct? Or circles, because I have 2 of the same. So now let's go ahead and figure out how to do this. So to find the area of a rectangle, I know I have to do base times height. And then to find the area of a circle, I am doing pi times the radius squared, correct? So that's how I find the area of those 2's, okay? So the base of my rectangle is gonna end up being 50. So I'm gonna end up doing 50 times the height, which is 32. And if I look, my radius of my circle is gonna be 8. So I'm subtracting 2 times pi 8 squared, which is gonna end up giving me the area of my circle, okay? And so now literally all I have to do is find the area of the rectangle, the area of my 2 circles, and then subtract those to get the total area. So I'm gonna do 50 times 32, which is gonna give you 1,600. I'm gonna write it down here so y'all can see it better. And I'm gonna do the area of the circle first, which is pi times 8 squared, and then I'm gonna multiply that times 2, which is gonna give you 402.124. And then I'm gonna subtract the 2 to end up giving the total because I'm taking out those circles, remember? So when I subtract those, that's gonna end up giving me a grand total of 1,197.88, and that's in centimeters squared. Because remember, anytime that you're doing area, you're always doing squared units. So that tells you the area of the shaded region, okay? Let's jump over to our last example here. So on this last example, it says Robinson is buying a new turf for their football field. It says the shape below is the covered with the turf. If turf costs, or it's supposed to say turf, sorry. If turf costs 75 cents per square foot, what would the total cost be for the new turf? So if they're covering all of this here. So if you look, we gotta kind of determine what type of shapes I have. So if you look, I have in the middle, I have a rectangle. And if you look, I have a semicircle over here and a semicircle over here. Well, a semicircle is half a circle. So if I have 2 semicircles, they make one whole circle. So I just need to find the area of a rectangle, then the area of a circle in order to find the total area of my football field here, okay? So I have my rectangle, and I'm gonna add the area of a circle because I have one full circle, correct? Okay, so the area of a rectangle is base times height, and the area of a circle is pi r squared. So now I'm just gonna plug in what I know. So the base of my rectangle is gonna be 300. The height of it is gonna be 150. And then remember, if I wanna find the radius, All the way across my circle is going to be 150, and the radius is always half of the diameter. So I got to take half of 150, which is going to be 75, and I'm going to square that. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to multiply these to get the area of my rectangle, area of my circle, add them together to get my total area. So 300 times 150 is going to give you 45,000, and then 75 squared times pi is going to end up giving me 17,671, and I'm just going to add those together, ladies and gentlemen, to get my total area. So right now, the total area in feet of my football field is going to be 62,671.5 is going to, and that's feet squared. So right now, that's just the area of the whole football field. But what it tells me is that the turf is 75 cents per square foot. So that means 1 square foot is 75 cents, and I have 62,000 of those. So I need to multiply that times 0.75, and that's going to give me a grand total of $47,003.60 is going to be the grand total of recovering the whole football field. Which, in my opinion, if that happened in real life, that's a pretty cheap football field, $47,000. So I would go ahead and say that, okay? So we're going to take this info, take it into your skill check, take it into whatever you need. If you're needing help, please let us know. Good luck.